This is Jason from Friends of Comic Con here with. Could you
Oh,
introduce
sure.
yourself?
My name's Nathaniel Freeman. I play Captain Charles Chilton on Space Command.
Okay. Could you tell us more about your character?
Sure, sure. I used to be a lieutenant in a previous episode. So the episode we're shooting now is called Solar Wars, and it takes place 20 years after our previous episode. So a lot has happened. I've got a daughter, played by Angelique Scott, who is now in charge of her own ship, and she's now a lieutenant, where I was lieutenant. She's Lieutenant Delaney Chilton. So it's nice to see the progression. This is a show I've been working on for over a decade, and I'm very glad to be a part of it.
So, what first drew you into this project?
Well, I was associated with Mark Zickery and Elaine Zickery, the writers, producers, director of this program, through their weekly networking group called The Table, which meets on Thursdays in Los Angeles. So I met them over 20 years ago, and through just being a part of their group, I found out about things that they were doing down the pipeline, and Space Command was one of those things. So they held nationwide auditions, but they also pulled from sources within their group. And me being a regular member, I became associated with Space Command back in 2014.
Oh wow.
Yes.
So what are some of the other projects that you've worked on?
Science fiction related or just
Just
generally?
in general. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've been a little bit of everything. I've done, I did a wonderful play called Pulp, Shakespeare. Imagine if Quentin Tarantino and William Shakespeare got together and did Pulp Shakespeare, Pulp Fiction, but in Shakespearean times. And I played a character named Lord Marcellus Wallace. And it was pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of the film, except with crossbows instead of machine guns, and a tavern instead of a diner, of course. And I had I jokingly say that the scene, if you're familiar with Pulp Fiction, you know there's a scene where Wallace's character gets sexually assaulted. That happened to me nightly on stage behind the scrim, and I came out with clothes all torn and sweat from my brow, but Bruce Willis's character came and saved me, just like in the film, and it won the Hollywood Fringe Festival that year, and then we're part of the New York Fringe Festival, which was especially endearing for me because I got to go back to my hometown of New York City and perform this play off Broadway at two different theaters with my family and friends and college friends and church friends. It was a very gratifying moment for me.
Oh, that sounds great. What got you into acting?
Well, I didn't always want to be an actor, but back when I was a teenager, many moons ago, I was going to church, and one of the members of the choir, a gentleman by the name of Joe Palmore, singer, wanted to do a play that he had written for the youth of the church to perform for one night only. And being in our teens, a lot of us were very self-conscious and didn't want to audition, so he started volunteering people. He said, Nathaniel, you're going to audition, you're going to audition, you're going to audition. So I auditioned, got the lead role. I played both Lucifer and a victim of racism in a play called Deviled Youth. And the play was only supposed to go on for one evening, but due to overwhelming demand, the play got extended to over another 3 or 4 evenings, and on closing night, the writer-director, Joe Palmore, came over to me and said, you know, at the risk of making your head any bigger than it already is, you are quite good out there. If you ever consider doing this for real, look me up. And of course, in my youthful arrogance, I said to myself, yeah, sure, what do you know? Well, little did I know he was a professor of drama at New York University. Well, long story short, I didn't get into the medical school of my choice, and I also found out that I was rather squeamish. So I made a career choice and changed from medicine to acting, and I consequently auditioned and got into both, well, first Long Island University, and then ultimately left after 2 years and transferred to New York University, where I studied at the Tisch School of the Arts, Stella Adler Conservatory. And then I've just been going ever since.
Nice. It's I've noticed it's a hot day and you're out here acting. How do you deal with that while you're acting?
I make my focus what I'm doing in the moment. I remember what I learned in Acting 101 all the way back in the 1980s. Always remember who is your character, what do you want, what's your objective, and how do you get what you want? And are there any obstacles to getting what you want, and how do you navigate around those obstacles? And then when I focus on that, I tend to shut everything and everyone else out. Like the many voices you hear talking around us and the garbage trucks going around outside. I block all that out. It's like, it becomes white noise after a while.
So, is there anything else you'd like to tell friends of Comic-Con?
Oh, I have to say, after living in Los Angeles for over 20 years, I came here in 2004, I've only been to Comic-Con once, and I had an amazing time. It was 2022. So I'm going to make it my business to be back there in 2025 because I had an amazing time. It's one thing to go as a participant and to look at all the costumes and the shows and all, but it's quite another to go as a performer representing a science fiction franchise and meeting the fans of said franchise and signing autographs and just, I don't know, being around your people, you know? Nerds, geeks, whatever you want to call us. I grew up with the original Star Trek, Captain Kirk and Spock and Uhura, yeah. And then that branched off into like Twilight Zone, and I love that anthology, and The Outer Limits, and Space 1999. Oh, I know I'm going in deep dive. Some of your younger viewers are like, what's he talking about? Yeah, go Google it, young people. Yeah, it's worth a look.
Well, I love all those shows. I hope to see you there, Nathaniel. It's a great time. So.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. In fact, I hope to go back to the San Diego Comic-Con next year, but not only as a representative of Space Command, but I'm shooting later this year a theatrical short called "But for the Grace of God." At least that's the working title, and that's in the sci-fi / horror realm, and the producer, writer of that, a man named James Moore, is going to have that submitted to Comic-Con. Thank you, brain freeze. It's before lunch, people. So I hope to be there representing several different projects. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure.